Conor McGregor might still be the biggest star to come out of the UFC, but he hasn't been at the top of his game for quite some time now. Commentator, podcast host, and comedian Joe Rogan thinks inactivity is one of the biggest factors behind his demise, but that still doesn't mean he's not a money fight, with Stephen Thompson being the latest fighter to call him out. Keep watching for more on both stories. First up, not the silk sheets. The fact that Conor was once the highest paid athlete in the world is enough to prove why he's still the biggest star at the UFC. If we were to break down his payouts against the minutes he spent inside the octagon, it comes out to something around $8 million earned per minute. His business deals outside of the fight world were also highly successful, including a $600 million payout for his proper No. 12 whiskey brand. Conor was and probably still is on top of the world, but when it comes to his performance inside the cage, things aren't exactly that good. He's only won, one fight in his last 4 or 5 outings, with his last defeat coming against longtime rival, the Diamond Dustin Poirier. Mystic Mac snapped his leg in that fight, forcing him to take a long break away from the game, and even then, he kept on minting the cash as he starred in the remake of the classic Roadhouse alongside some famous Hollywood actors. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We want to talk about why one of the biggest names in MMA fell so abruptly, losing fight after fight. Was it the silk sheets, or was it the money? UFC commentator Joe Rogan thinks it's actually all the inactivity that caused his demise at the promotion. I wonder, it could just be inactivity too. Inactivity is probably one of the bigger factors in his demise, maybe even more so than just the silk sheets. Next, is he on the roids? Like a lot of UFC fighters, Joe Rogan also believes Conor has been using steroids after exiting the USADA testing pool. He called it a bit of a loophole, saying it's actually insane how someone can just exit the pool and do whatever they want, and in case they want to fight again, all they have to do is just re-enter the pool at least 6 months before a matchup, get cleared, and that's about it. But with his superior understanding of the UFC fitness in general, why does Joe Rogan, of all people, think McGregor is on steroids? Well, believe it or not, the fact that the Notorious is going around taking his shirt off and posing for the cameras like a bodybuilder is evidence enough that he's been juicing. Joe went the extra mile by saying Conor would pretty much melt the USADA testing cup with his piss. Like, it would just burn a hole right through the bottom of that USADA cup. We're not gonna lie, guys, he looks massive. It almost looks as if he's getting ready to fight in the middleweight division or something. But the question still stands, is he on the roids or not? Regardless of what a lot of people think, Conor's transformation isn't impossible or something. Considering the amount of money he's packing in the bank, it's probably super easy for him to afford the best nutrition, specialists, and training. And while guys like Rogan think he's juicing, Chael Sonnen thinks the Irishman is clean. Moving on, the same old McGregor. We think Joe is missing something here. He's right about the inactivity, but has anyone noticed how Conor didn't evolve much as a fighter? Look at Dustin, or even Charles Oliveira. For that matter, not only did they manage to stay on top of the pedestal, but they also evolved a lot as fighters. Both these gentlemen added so much variety to their game, along with weapons in their arsenal. And when you look at Conor in comparison, what did he do? Nothing much, right? It might not look like it, but the UFC evolves like any other sport out there. You can't keep on winning using the same strategies and techniques. Fighters need to come up with something new and either learn a new skill or enhance the previous ones. Apart from polishing his trash talking and money-making skills, McGregor never really added to his game. He became too predictable. His game plan is laid out in plain sight in front of us. Talk the best trash of your life and pray you get in your opponent's head. He was really agile, powerful, and creative during his peak, but he failed to adapt, and that's why he's fallen behind. When we think about matching Conor against the likes of Oliveira or Michael Chandler, we can't help but worry about him getting seriously hurt. No wonder why a lot of fighters and fans think his fighting days are over. Anyone who calls him out these days is interested in nothing but a money fight. Following up, another one. DJ Khaled should just hang around with Conor these days, considering the number of call-outs he gets. Another one. Stephen Thompson is the latest fighter to call out the Notorious in the hopes of getting a mega money fight and retire in peace. A lot of people thought that he was done and dusted, but after an epic showdown against Kevin Holland, he's proved he still has something left in the tank for one final matchup against a big name. Wonder Boy took on Mr. Big Mouth, and if we're being honest, it wasn't looking good for him in the first round of the fight. Holland completely dominated, but we thought the fight would get really ugly for Thompson. But what an extraordinary turnaround. It was just one of those fights that proved why he's such a dangerous fighter that he has the potential to surprise anyone at any time. And did you know he's actually 39 years old? He's incredibly quick for a fighter, touching 40, and while we still believe he should start thinking about hanging up the gloves, a fight against the Irishman wouldn't be a bad bet. After putting away the dangerous Kevin Holland, Steven took the mic and took his shot at McGregor. He talked about how he'd take that fight in a heartbeat and tried to get everyone behind him to build hype for a mega showdown. We're not trying to take anything away from the Wonder Boy, but what a cute call out. We have nothing against him, but there's no way he's gonna get a fight against the Irishman. Up next, let's not get carried away. Like we just said, we have nothing against him, but seriously guys, let's not get carried away here. Sure, he put on a brilliant performance against Mr. Big Mouth, but that still doesn't change the fact that he's a fighter touching 40. Kevin also did some serious damage to his hand that ultimately led him waving the white flag, but Wonder Boy dominated the fight. No doubt about it. The fourth round was just exceptional. Thompson landed head kick after head kick, and credit to Holland for putting on an amazing display of high precision striking. It was a treat to watch, but we're not sure why analysts think he's a serious contender for the welterweight title all of a sudden. Are we forgetting Khamzat Chimaev? What if he doesn't want to move up to middleweight and decides to stick around for a shot at the welterweight title? Is Thompson more deserving of a title fight just because of his performance against Holland? Or how about the UFC settles everything by matching him against someone from the top 5, or maybe even Khamzat? Steven is an incredible fighter with a lot of flares, but one performance doesn't put you back on the map as a title contender. Calling out McGregor is one thing, but thinking he has a legitimate shot at a title now is another. Last but not least, so who is Conor going to fight? We're not going to be seeing the Irishman anytime soon, since he needs to be tested at least 6 months before stepping inside the octagon. He did hint something about rejoining the USADA testing list in February, so 6 months from then is basically late 2023. We'll probably see him make his highly anticipated comeback towards the end of next year, but the bigger question is, who's he going to fight? With so many options to pick and choose from, the Notorious probably wants to fight a big name to pack an arena, sell out PPVs, and go home with a big fat paycheck. But is he going to fight a real contender? Would Conor ever accept a fight against someone like Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler? Because the chances of a showdown against Wonder Boy are pretty slim right now. If you ask us, we think a potential fight against Michael Chandler would make the most sense right now.
Now giving up his back! Chandler with that's it! Choke. There's the tap!
We'll still have to see how the light and welterweight divisions change in the next couple of months, but Chandler seems to be the best fit. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Is Joe Rogan right about Conor failing because of inactivity? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.